Hey everybody out there, and welcome to the Guardian Armory YouTube channel. As I mentioned this past week, I was going to go ahead and post a video of a pretty cool gun here that we have. I want to kind of do something like this on a regular basis, just to kind of give you guys a little something, little tidbits of information, entertainment, whatever you want to call it, leading up to our opening, which we still plan on being open by the end of July. We're all renovating the shop. Feel free to message us here on the YouTube channel, on Facebook, or there's a lot of ways to get in touch with us actually. Twitter, Instagram, email, or give us a phone call if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. In the meantime, this is the pistol that I mentioned earlier this week. This is a Friedrich Langenhan Selbstlader, which is German for self-loader, and it is chambered in 32 ACP or 7.65 millimeter. It's a pretty neat gun. It has a couple of different little things about it that kind of separate it from other pistols in general. But first and foremost, I'll go ahead and check that it is clear. There's nothing in the magazine, which these are, I believe, 7 or 8 round mags, I believe. And of course, it operates like most any other semi-automatic pistol with the slide, and then you have your frame and everything else. So if you notice that, I'll go ahead and show you. This is one of the neat things about this pistol. Well, first of all, if you're familiar with older pistols in general, this pistol kind of bears a striking resemblance to another pistol of the same time frame. These were made in 1914 to around 1917, I guess. I think there were around 50 or 60,000 of these made originally. But it does look an awful lot like an FN 1900, model 1900. I don't know if this was actually directly copied off of that. As you know, even today, a lot of gun manufacturers pretty much copy designs from one another. Hopefully, you know, in doing so, they improve upon the original design as well. But this one does look a lot like the FN. Being that this one was in use during those years, which was obviously right in the middle of World War One, these were common to see German infantry use these, or German officers, whatever the case may be. And they were also used by German police after World War One. And this one actually has no import marks. It was brought back during World War Two. So they were in use by some Germans in World War Two as well. That being said, one of the other things you'll notice about this pistol, which is kind of neat in my opinion, is that the barrel is actually located below the gas system. And that, I think, was probably kind of ahead of its time in a sense, because what that does is it keeps the barrel itself much lower on an axis with your forearm, so that the recoil impulse, in theory at least, is more straight back, and you can shoot faster. You'll notice this sort of thing, especially when you're shooting as fast as possible. But versus it being on top of the gas system and a much higher bore axis where it can cause muzzle flip. So that's kind of a neat thing about this pistol. Something else that's I mentioned in the post before, a lot of people nickname this pistol the suicide pistol. And it's not because a lot of people committed suicide with it, at least probably not intentionally, I don't know. But if you notice here on the back, it has a takedown screw. And that's pretty much the only thing holding the slide on this particular gun. If you take and you unscrew that, which would happen, you know, in the trenches, you know, in the heat of combat, if people are shooting it, they may not notice that the screw has worked itself loose. I mean, there's not very many threads on there, and let's say the screw falls out while you're shooting. Well, from that point forward, all that's holding the slide on is this yoke right here. And when that flips up, you can see the potential for danger still exists. Simply because the gas system and the recoil system is housed here, but the sear and trigger assembly and everything else is actually contained within this piece, so it can still fire. With that being the case, there were instances actually that occurred of guns, you know, exploding, firing out a battery, whatever you want to say, but mainly the reason they call it the suicide pistol is there were cases reported of the slide somehow coming back and hitting the operator in the face. So that's kind of a neat little tidbit about this gun, neat little piece of information. And of course, you can see how easy it is to reassemble. You just put the slide on, slide that yoke down, which also encompasses the rear sight here. The sights are pretty rudimentary. It's just a blade front sight, similar to the 1911s of the time, and just a notch rear sight. So with it being a 32 ACP, it's probably not going to win any distance shooting awards, but for close range, close quarters type stuff, it served its purpose at the time. This one is in relatively good shape. As you can see, some of the bluing is still there. It's got a nice patina on it. The wood grips are not eaten up and destroyed. And overall, it's a decent gun. It's just a neat gun that I've always been into World War I, World War II type pistols and rifles in general. The value on such things has gone up exponentially, of course, in the past 10 to 20 years. These are still relatively cheap, all things considered, by judging by the amount that they made versus how many have survived. I've seen them, I don't know, it's been a while since I checked, but I've seen them go anywhere from $400 or so, $300, all the way up to over $1,000 at some of for a pristine condition one at an auction house or something like that. I didn't acquire this gun to sell it or to as an investment or anything like that. I just got it because I thought it was a neat pistol, And you guys, if you have any questions about the pistol or anything else at all, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us. Like I said, there's lots of ways to do that, and hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Memorial Day. Sorry it took me a little while to get this video made. I kind of got to get it done quick and dirty here because I got stuff to go do. But, guys, take care and stay safe this Memorial Day. And remember what this day is all about, the people that sacrifice so that we can stay free here in the good old U.S. of A. So, guys, have a good afternoon and come see us as soon as we get open. Bye.